Let's talk about that. Which Super Bowl loss hurt the most of the Niners 3?
Oh, Grant, I think the temptation here, because of recency bias, is to forget about how devastating that Ravens Super Bowl loss
It was
was.
bad. It was
It was
bad.
real bad, and it was further away. So, and it maybe for the younger fans out there who were a little younger during that game, it was rough. And the reason I'm going to say that game was the worst of the three, I got a couple reasons. One, if they had won, I think Jim Harbaugh could have stuck around longer. So while that game was devastating, I think it had a ripple effect. He might have won the Harbaugh Balky drama if he had won a Super Bowl. Two, with the whole lights going out, 49ers having no chance, you got your hopes up. Against Mahomes in the other two Super Bowls, you always knew Mahomes was on the other side. And even when the 49ers had a lead, you could never get too comfortable. Grant, that Ravens Super Bowl, there was no doubt in my mind the 49ers were winning that game. This was going to be another go through the 49ers history, the catch two, the catch three. This was going to be a great moment in 49ers history, and I'm watching it live. They are winning this game. It's going to be one of the greatest stories in the history of the league when they come and
Flacco
win this
lit
game.
them up.
He did. He did.
Flacco lit them
He
up.
absolutely did. I mean,
Yes.
just scrambling around and
Alden
just
Smith, Justin Smith, Patrick Willis, Marl Bowman, get some. Carlos Rogers, Anquan Bolden. The Niners, that's one of the reasons the Niners got Anquan Bolden, because he whooped their ass so thoroughly.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to go with that one.
Getting blown out, and then the lights went off, and they came all the way back, and they had the ball at the 7-yard line at first and goal.
I think was it closer than that? Was it closer
They
than
called
the
the
7?
same play 3 times in a row, because who said it? Was Delaney Walker said it? He said that Harbaugh wanted Colin to be the Super Bowl MVP instead of Frank Gore. It was very much like the Seahawks Super Bowl loss a couple years later, except theirs was more famous. But the Niners did it first.
They sure did.
They did it first.
And I'm gonna repeat what I said earlier, Grant. If the 49ers win that game, let's say Frank Gore gets a handoff and scores a touchdown, that is probably the greatest game in NFL history in terms of like the impact with that comeback with the weirdest. Yeah. When do the lights go out in any NFL game? Never mind during the Super Bowl.
Probably still in the league. Might be still with the Niners.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Yeah, that. So I'm gonna go with that one.
I'm gonna go with 2023. Here's why. They lose in 2012. Heartbreaking. But it was the second year of Harbaugh's tenure, and at the time, it didn't feel as painful, I think. I'm not a fan, but I think people felt like, all right, well, dude, first year on the job, he's in the NFC Championship game. Second year on the job, he's in the Super Bowl. Third year, he's going to win it. And then it didn't go that way. But there was a lot of hope. And then in 2019, same thing. Like, damn, dude, third year on the job, and Kyle has this incredible team, and he's up here playing against the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and all he has is Jimmy Garoppolo, and he won a freaking NFC Championship game throwing 8 passes. Like, whoa, okay, so they lost. But they're still a team that's on the rise, and we know they don't really have their quarterback. They're gonna find someone else. And that kind of played out, right? 4 years later, they get back to the Super Bowl with a different quarterback, and this time it's the guy they really like. It's Brock Purdy, who's so much better than Jimmy, so much better. But it's the same result. And this time, you definitely had the better team than the other team. You definitely had the better team. You had the lead multiple times. Freaking Jake Moody played in the game and missed a freaking extra point. He's a big reason they lost the Super Bowl. Like, that one kind of felt like the end of the Kyle Shanahan regime. It's been a slow decline since then. Last year gave them some hope, but that was the shot. And I don't know that the Niners, under this current group, will have a better one.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that third one was also, the pain from a fan standpoint was compounded because of the prior two, and especially because the last one was also against the Chiefs. There's something more depressing about that when the same team beats you twice, and it's like, oh, what the hell do we have to do to get by these guys? You know?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles faced the Chiefs twice in the Super Bowl, beat them once. Beat the shit out of them the second time.
Yeah.
They're not invincible, just against the Niners. The Niners have never beaten Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Not one.
Andy Reid has Kyle's number. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Yeah.
All right. Josh Wyatt says, where is the yak? I can't help feeling the 19 Niners would have smoked that umbrella Seattle defense. Who can they get that can break a friggin' tackle? That is true. It seems to me that if you're going to face that umbrella coverage, the best way to beat it is running the ball and yards after the catch. Uh, Debo isn't that guy anymore. Juwan isn't really that guy. Ricky isn't that guy. Christian isn't that guy. I don't think Kittle's that. I don't know, man. They got to draft him.
I think they got to draft him because the wide receiver class is not great. It's weird to me, by the way, hearing 49er fans get excited about Romeo Dobbs. Like he's going to be the savior and come in and revamp this offense. I think it's got to happen in the draft. But as we've said before, not to be a broken record, the 49ers struggle drafting wide receivers.
That's why I still would look in the free agent market, and why I don't like the top end of the wide receiver market. It's so expensive. I think there is some value there. There's one guy I like maybe more than I should. He's not a number one receiver, but I think to Josh Wyatt's point, I think he addresses a lot of this. Yak, speed. Rashid Shaheed. He's the best returner in the league.
Yeah. And he'd be cheaper.
Player.
He'd be a little cheaper than some of these other guys that we've talked about too. Absolutely.
I think you could use him in all kind of fun ways. You could put end arounds, jet sweeps. I like Rashid Shaheed.
Hey, you talked about how the Niners brought in Anquan Bolden after he whooped their butt in the Super Bowl. Rashid Shaheed just whooped their ass in the championship game or in the playoffs. And so, hey, let's go ahead and bring him in.
Not. Sean for the win says the Niners don't need to react to the moves other teams make. It would be a mistake. They aren't good at anything other than calling plays. Kyle can't coach. He has no other qualities that show up outside of
There's some truth in that. There is some truth in that. I like his point about not needing to react to the moves that other teams make. The reason that I'm going to react, though, Grant, and maybe some would say overreact, is because we saw the Niners have a mediocre offseason last year, and it's really early, but it seems like we're setting the stage for another mediocre, disappointing offseason. And as I said the last time I came on your show, if the 49ers had been a little more aggressive in the offseason last offseason, maybe that would have moved the needle and helped them get past Seattle.
I hear this a lot. Don't overreact, and it's not smart to do something just because another team did something, and you have to stick to your plan. You have to have convictions. I mean, that sounds good, but at the same time, you're competing with these teams. You're worse than these teams. You have to catch these teams, and to just sit back and let all your competitors make aggressive pushes while you sit there and just kind of tread water and say, yeah, we like our plan. It's like, but what do you mean? You're not as good as these teams that are doing more than you. So you like the idea of being fourth best, or you really think you're better than them and that they're just spinning their wheels? Because that's the kind of arrogance that irks me. And I feel like it's one of the traits of this regime. Like, yeah, we lost 2 Super Bowls, but we should have won them. Like, out of here. Miss me with
I
that.
think there is some of that arrogance, Grant, and this goes back to the injury thing. Do you think that they're saying, hey, we got bad luck with the injuries? When we're healthy, we'll be better and we'll be able to compete more. We've just had bad luck, so we don't need to make that many tweaks. Problem is, if they're not doing anything to address those injuries, like we talked about on our last show, then you're just going to keep repeating the same problem over and over.
See, that's why I think the Niners have such an injury dilemma, is because they treat it like it's luck. If it were luck, it wouldn't happen every year.
Bingo.
What's lucky is when you're not injured. So
Bingo.
I think with that, and the fact that they won't even acknowledge the substation thing is telling. But the most telling, because they can kind of dismiss it and be like, well, there's no true hard science, there's theories. Okay, fine. But your players voted your training staff the worst in the league. Your players voted your training facility a C-. They've been doing this every year. You don't care. You don't listen. You don't do anything about it. So don't talk to me about luck. It's an issue you don't want to really address. And I don't know why.
I agree with everything you said there, but these are the two things that people bring up most: the substation and the training staff issue, whether that's strength and conditioning, etc. Here's the piece that often gets left out of this discussion and shouldn't. The 49ers also fall in love with injured players, whether it's through free agency or the draft. We just talked about Ben Barch. We opened the show practically talking about how they want to bring this super injured offensive lineman back. They bring guys in. They draft guys who have a history of injuries in college. So it's like, why are you shocked? It's like an overconfidence in your terrible training staff that is voted really bad, that we can turn this around just because they had injuries in college.
It's more jaded than that. Like, dude, these guys are all going to get hurt, man. It's the NFL. It's not for long. Let's just churn them. let's just ride them hard. And when they get
Mhm.
hurt, instead of trying to bring them back, let's just find the next player. I mean, it could be that cynical. It's what it
Maybe they
seems
feel
like to me.
defeated.
That's
Maybe
my
they feel
point.
defeated. Yeah. Yeah.
These guys
Yeah.
all get hurt. It's
Yeah.
football.
You
Just
might be
saying.
onto something there. You might be onto
Surge
something
for
there.
6 says retread head coach and a 38-year-old tackle is all they doing. Yeah. Eberflus. We're not going to talk about him today.
Ugh.
Eberflus. Fun name. Sean for the win says can't draft, can't develop, bad contracts, won't play rooks, favoritism, not clutching big games, can't out coach other good coaches, overpaid OC. That's what he is. That's his superpower. McDonald and McVay winning a Super Bowl. He ain't it. Damn, that was definitely worth the $20. You killed that one. I can't.
Yeah.
And this
Hey,
is
you said we're not going to talk about Eberflus, but I just think it's funny that the two former head coaches recently that became punchlines, Brandon Staley and Matt Eberflus, the 49ers have both brought them in as assistant coaches immediately after they left. That's kind of weird. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, it just shows that it's hard to hold on to a job for 10 years without a ring. This is the stuff that people are going to start saying, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's a long time. And the reason that don't have a ring in the last 10 years is Kyle. Now, he's brought them very close, and he gets credit for that. But
yeah,
this is why these coaches generally get fired. The ones who stick around for 20 years usually have rings. So when you have bad years, at least people can say, well, he did win at that one time. I mean, I kept Mike Tomlin employed for 2 decades, but Kyle doesn't have that. And his fans are pissed.
This is the same franchise that held on to Mike Nolan for 3 years.
Smells like foot in here. Says Ravens was bad, but second loss is the worst. Same team, lost in almost the exact same way. And in my opinion, that was the last shot for the now old star core.
Yeah. In overtime, too. It's tough to argue with that.
Ugh. They're all very painful. Joseph, the fact that the Niners got outscored 21-3 in the second one in the fourth quarter was like, the game all turned. They had a 10-point lead with 6 minutes left. And then they gave up the 3rd and 15. It was like, okay, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And they felt,
that's
Bosa got held on that. Joseph Ernbrick says, no disrespect, but Dobbs would be injured by week 3.
I'm going to look up Romeo Dobbs' stats right now because I'm curious. I know he's often injured.
Every time I started him, I freaking regretted it. God.
Let's see here. So Dobbs played. It's actually not as bad as I thought. So he played in 16 games last year, 13 the year before, 17 the year before, and 13 the year before. So
solid.
He's more durable than I thought before I looked at that, if I'm being honest.
I think it's the Guardian cap. I don't like it. It looks funny. I would wear one if I was. Vermilia Sports Report says, soon on AMC, the fall of the Niners, 31 years and counting. This guy has a little too much fun with the Niners. Trouble.